The police officer who received a call from himself. At 3:17 a.m., the emergency line rang at the dispatch desk in the small town of Blackwood, Pennsylvania. Officer Daniel Carter answered. For a moment, there was only static. Then he heard his own voice. Do not enter the house. You already went inside once, and you never came back out. Daniel froze. Before he could respond, the call disconnected. Seconds later, dispatch received another report. A child had been heard screaming inside an abandoned farmhouse near County Road 14, just outside town. Daniel drove to the property with his partner, Officer Michael Reed. The farmhouse had been empty for nearly 20 years. Its front door stood wide open. The wooden hallway floor was covered in water, even though there had been no rain for days. Michael aimed his flashlight at the walls. Old photographs hung from rusted nails. Each one showed police officers standing in front of the farmhouse during different decades. Some wore uniforms from the 1970s. Others wore uniforms from the 1990s. In the final photograph, Daniel and Michael stood outside the front door. They were wearing the exact uniforms they had on that night. Daniel stepped closer. The photograph was still warm. A child began crying upstairs. The sound came from behind a heavy metal door at the end of the second-floor hallway. Daniel and Michael forced it open. The room was empty. A cell phone sat in the middle of the floor. Daniel recognized it immediately. It was his phone. He reached into his jacket pocket. His actual phone was still there. Both phones began ringing at the same time. Michael picked up the phone on the floor. Daniel heard his own voice screaming through the speaker. Do not let it see you. The lights went out. 3 seconds later, they came back on. Michael was gone. Daniel called his name. No answer. A long shadow stretched across the wall. No person stood in front of it. Inside the shadow, Daniel saw Michael's face. Then the face changed. It became Daniel's. Daniel ran from the farmhouse alone. The investigation found no evidence that Michael had ever entered the building. The patrol car camera showed Daniel walking toward the farmhouse while speaking to someone beside him. But no second person appeared in the footage. 1 week later, Michael returned to work. He walked into the station wearing his uniform and carrying a cup of coffee. He said he remembered nothing. He spoke calmly. He smiled normally. But Daniel noticed something strange. Michael's shadow did not move with him. Whenever Michael walked away, the shadow remained standing beside the station door. It looked as though it were waiting for another door to open.